Hello viewers, in today's video we will talk about the lab safety and sampling protocols. Okay, so for example, if we are working in the wet lab or aqueous lab, so there are certain set of rules and protocols that we all need to follow. For example, you are entering the laboratory, so you can see that here there is an notice that students are not allowed beyond this point or beyond this step without safety protective gear. Okay, so we must wear all the kind of safety gears or PPEs. That is called the general safety protocols, the lab coat, the gloves, the goggles. Okay, and for working in for the chemicals we must use the fume hood. For working for the fume hood, I have made a lot of videos on my channel, so you must ensure there is proper airflow. And for example, you are working with acid or some kind of chemicals which has fumes, so you must work and be away, bit away, and also make sure the sachet is okay. Okay, and also there must be a proper eye wash if you are exposed with the chemicals. So here we have the eye wash here. Okay, you must ensure that it is working properly. Here also, this is the top one. Okay, and also there should be no food or drink in the laboratory. Okay, there should be no food or drink. And also, for example, you are working with the chloride or any kind of salt, so you must adhere to the material safety data sheet or safety data sheet. Okay, now there are some of the tests that we usually do in the laboratory. For example, if you are doing the pH of the water, you want to find the pH of the water, so that should be analyzed immediately, and the holding time of the sample should not be more than 15 minutes. For example, if you are analyzing BOD of the water, so you must cool them to 4 degrees C, and you cannot add any chemical preservative in the sample, and the holding time could be 8 hours so that the DO is not depleted. Okay, and for the COD preservation, you have to keep it less than pH should be less than 2 and 4 degrees C temperature, and the holding time could be 7 days. The metals, for the metals you have to add some drop of acid, like you have to store it for the pH less than 2, and the holding time could be 7 days. For the nutrients, it could be, you can add acid, you can store at 4 degrees C for 48 hours. For suspended solids, you don't need to add any preservative, and the preservation should be done at 4 degrees C, and the holding time could be 7 days. And for example, if you're analyzing pH, so make sure you need to calibrate your pH meter. And for the BOD, for example, if you are doing it by the manual method, so you have to fill it with the 300 ml bottles, avoid air bubbles, incubate for 5 days at 20 degrees C. For COD, the potassium chromate and H2SO4 should be under hood. Wear gloves and shield. So we have a lot of shield in the laboratory. I will show it to you right now. So these are our spill kits, and we have a separate area for our safety storage safety kits, and this is our first aid kits, and these are our special kind of, to avoid any kind of there is a dust or any kind of smoke or fume, so this will protect your nose. You have to wear it on your nose. So this is industrial safety equipment, and these are our safety goggles. Okay, and also you need to have a special kind of glass that is powder free. Okay, and for the metal digestion, you have to always do the acid digestion, so you have to do the digestion in hood, and this is as per the EPA 3050B. Store waste in labeled containers. When you're storing any waste, for example, we do store the waste, so we store the waste properly in the labeled containers, so they should be labeling. This is acid waste or dye waste or any kind of waste you should store in the labeled containers. Okay, And for suspended solids, if you are using the gravimetric analysis or technique, so make sure you take I mean, when you heat it up to 103 or 550, so make sure you put in the desiccator before weighing. Okay, so you can see here, this is our desiccator, and make sure the silica gel at the bottom should be completely blue, not white. So this is now white. We will change our uh, silica gel. And for the waste disposal, make sure if you are using the concentrated acids, you must neutralize the acid or bases before drain disposal. If you are putting your waste in the here, so you can see here, caution, there are no chemicals in drains. Use chemical waste containers. So if you are, suppose you are putting the waste, so you must neutralize in case of acid or base. Okay, and collect heavy metal waste separately. Okay, also maintain a logbook. Okay, you must maintain a logbook. There you could put your sample ID, preservative analysis detail. Okay, now these are all as per the AAPHA 2000 standards, 2017 standard methods, and also US EPA 200. You see US EPA method 200.7, 200.8, 3050B, 410.4, and also as per WHO 2017 guidelines for drinking water quality. Okay, now if you're storing the for example, if you are doing the pH, so you have to store your samples in the polyethylene bottle. And for dissolved oxygen bottle, we usually prefer the glass kind of bottle. It could be like this, not like this kind of bottles. You can store your samples for the BOD. For pH, polyethylene bottles. They are special kind of plastics you have to store. Maybe it could be these one. Okay. Now for the BOD, you have to use borosilicate bottle, and make sure you don't add any preservative, as I told you earlier. For COD it could be glass or Teflon bottle. For total suspended solids, could be polyethylene bottle. For nutrients like nitrate, phosphate, ammonia, it could be polyethylene bottle. Okay, and for the metal, it should be acid washed. Okay, because in order to avoid any contamination, we have to acid wash could be using the 0.1 molar of the hydrochloric acid, or 0.1 molar of the nitric acid. For phenols, amber glass bottles. Okay, like these, it could be these kind of bottles. You can use these kind of bottles, so there is no decay or degradation. Okay, and for volatile, it could be glass vial with Teflon septum, and also you have to add HCl so that there is no bubbles. Okay, and it could be acidic involvement. Oil grease, glass bottle with Teflon cap, add HCl or H2SO4, and for all these, for metals, phenols, volatile organics, oil and grease, and total organic carbons, the storage temperature could be 4 degrees C. For metals, the storage could be 6 months, phenols 28 days, volatile organics 14 days, oil and grease 28 days, and total organic carbon could be 7 days. Okay. Now for BOD and DO, do not homogenize. Sample must represent the natural condition to preserve microbial community. For COD, nutrients or metals, mix gently before aliquoting to ensure uniform suspension without aeration. For organics, phenols and VOCs, do not shake or aerate. Avoid volatilization losses. Okay. Now for quality assurance and documentation, you must record the time, date, location, collector, preservation, and ensure all the bottles and caps are clean before doing the test. And this is as per APHASM 1060. And rinse the sample with sample. Before you're collecting the sample, for example, you're collecting in this bottle, you must first of all wash with the tap water. And also, if you are doing for metal, so we will be washing with the acid. Okay, specific amount concentration of the acid. And also make sure before collection you must wash it with the sample, also rinse with the sample also once. Okay, so this is all about the protocols that we follow in the laboratory before doing any kind of analysis, any kind of physical chemical property of the water or chemical property of the water, or you are finding the biological property of the water. These were the simple protocols that you must follow before doing any analysis. And usually the sample preservation is as per US EPA 40 CFR part 136, or you can also call that APHA 1060. In my next consecutive videos, I'll be talking about the protocols separately. For example, if you are doing pH, what should be the protocols? For if you are doing BOD, COD, metals, nutrients, suspended solids, and different kind of analysis that we perform in the laboratory.